futuristic and pragmatic budget. That's how many experts have described Suresh Prabhu's rail budget today. No hike in rail fares, but a slew of measures which many are calling customer friendly. Hello and welcome to Budget Buzz. On the show today, we analyze what the rail budget really means for you, as well as for the economy and for the cash-strapped railways as well. I'm Shweta Rajpalkoli, and joining me here on the show, our panel of experts, Vivek Gupta, partner of BMR, and Jaijit Bhattacharya, partner KPMG. Will also be joined by our reporters from across the country who will be bringing us views of commuters and what they really believe the rail budget has done for them. But first up, let's get you some of the key highlights and what Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu had to say during the speech.
For the year 2016-17, we expect an operating ratio of 92% after including the immediate impact of the 7th Pay Commission as against 90% likely to be achieved in the current year. This has been largely possible due to extensive cost optimization and revenue enhancement through innovative means than next year. We already made humble beginning in this direction, as a result of which a saving of 8,720 crores from the budget estimates last year will be effected this year, neutralizing the most of the revenue shortfall. We will introduce barcoded tickets, scanners and access control on a pilot basis on major stations to tackle the menace of ticketless travel and ensure hassle-free travel for the genuine passengers. CCTV surveillance provided at 311 stations, and all major stations will be brought under CCTV surveillance in a phased manner. Porters play a key role in making our journeys comfortable. We intend providing them with a new uniforms and train them for soft skills in line with the evolving image of railway. Henceforth, we will be happy to call them as Sahaya. So they will not be called as Kuli, they will be called as Sahaya.
First up, let's get you the overall analysis on what the rail budget has really meant and whether it is correct to call it a pragmatic budget. Vivek Gupta, your first comments on the budget overall. We've been getting divided views. While some believe that it is pragmatic, at least he was not populist, even though we have 5 state elections coming up. There are others who also have expressed concern about the ability to implement and called it too ambitious. Your thoughts?
See, I think it's a very clever budget. Clever because you would recall last year, same day, we spoke about the entire opportunity to monetize tangible and intangible assets that Railways has. For the first time, I think he's spoken about revenue generation from alternative non-fare sources, and that has been brought into the thinking of the Railways in a very meaningful way for the first time. He's set out a target in the next 4 years to move from 5% to 10% and so on and so forth. So right. I find that very interesting.
And that's achievable and that's practical.
That's practical.
Right.
See, Railways is so apart from revenue, what I would have liked to see a little bit more, and he's alluded to that in parts, is that all of the interesting assets of Railways, which individually you can privatize without privatizing the railways per se, because I think that would politically and socially be a very difficult thing to do. I think some of that can also be achieved, which can meet his ambitious target of 7.5 lakh crores that he spoke about last year, right. 1.2 lakh crores that he speaks about this year. Right. So I think in that sense, it's a clever budget. Remember, it's the budget of a highly troubled, ailing organization at the end of the day. So it's not without challenges. I find the fact that LIC will give loans to the railways on very favorable terms as off-budget support maybe. It's after all a support from one PSU to the railways, which is not coming out of the budget but is coming out of a state undertaking. It'd be interesting to see what those terms are. It'll be interesting to see what innovative financing he can do.
Sure.
But overall, I find it clever because for the first time, he's recognizing sources other than passenger and freight revenue.
And that's important because it's high time that you start looking outside those 2 basic revenue streams for the railways, because that's clearly not worked.
Absolutely. And finally, you will also need to look at equity dilutions in parts of railways, right. E-commerce. I mean, there are lots of intangible assets that railways possesses, and tangible assets. So stations, land, e-commerce, etc., etc.
And that's where you can unlock the value and make sure you go ahead with all the the kind of grand plans that he is in.
Without having to privatize.
Without having to privatize,
utility.
which anyways
you
seems
cannot.
Impossible. Yeah.
Yes.
Jaijit, your thoughts clearly, because the whole issue of passenger fares, the fact that many people believe that the budget moved away from the typical script that you would hear a railway minister, announcing trains, new trains, especially in constituencies where state elections were coming up, fares one way or the other depending on what the situation is, but the fact that he decided to keep fares where they are. Some have actually criticized the move, saying that he could have hiked fares but resisted against it because of the fact that it will have obviously political compulsions. Your overall view there?
I think it's a more matured budget, and that's a word I would use. And it's in line with what happened last year also. It was directionally a more mature budget with no knee-jerk trains being announced, no trains going from nowhere to nowhere being announced, and it's more of a policy-driven budget. Even when there are new trains being announced, there are classes of trains which are being announced, not stations and not new destinations and so on.
Right, so it's not politically driven in that sense, but there is some strategy to it, there's some thought applied to announcing those new trains.
So not just politically, but it's also not a knee-jerk reaction.
Knee-jerk reaction, right.
And therefore there's a deep thought that is there. It's driven by policies, and I'm sure as it matures further, you would have trains and new stations being decided based on analytics and real data rather than political compulsions.
Okay, those are important points coming in, but let's try and bring you now reactions of commuters, those train passengers. How do they think, how do they rate this budget? Let me now go across to Ankita, who joins us from Mumbai. We're also joined by Sam Daniel from Chennai and Rohit from Ahmedabad. Ankita, to you first. Mumbai, of course, a major hub out there. There's also talk that a railway minister is going to be speaking to the government for staggered work hours to reduce the kind of pressure there is. Share with us what the initial reaction of commuters there has been.
Right. So the response has been quite mixed actually. If you look at the positives in this budget for Mumbai, A is the fact that the number of the size of the platforms are going to be raised, which is definitely a big issue because about 10 people each day they die over here because of railway accidents, and one of the biggest reasons for that is because of the distance between the tracks, between the train as well as the platform. Another thing is the proposal of two elevated platforms, that is one from CST to Panvel and the other is from Churchgate to Virana. That will definitely help ease the traffic, ease the crowds during the peak hours. Another thing also is the fact that the fares have not been hiked. Now I have with me a few commuters here. Can you tell us about what's your take on the budget? Where do you think what's your take, positive or negative?
See, the budget is quite mixed feelings. We have quite mixed feelings. But regarding the safety issue that people hang from the doors of the railways, and also the height of the railway platform has been increased. That is much appreciable. But also the door issue is very much more, and also the hygiene on the stations is not much as we expect.
Much needs to be done on that aspect. What about you?
Actually, when the work is going on for the raising of platforms, most of them are, that's not really how you work. You have to complete the work as you started.
Safety measures are not taken.
So that is one of the
Okay. So apart from that, well, the people who are most disappointed are women, because they have been demanding for extra coaches for especially first class, because even though the entire train is crowded, it's women who suffer the most because there's hardly any space for them. So can you tell us about the problems that you all face?
The problem is that when we get into the train, the people who are gathered, they really push. So they should extend the bogie, for the ladies, at least they should extend the bogie, and they should also, the gap between train and the platform is not good.
Okay.
Instead of getting in the train, people get on the track.
Do you have any question for our panelist?
I want to ask the question about safety issues of the people. We daily travel like animals in the train, but I want to ask what are the safety issues that have been taken.
What can be done, basically? So that's what they're asking. What can be done?
All right, Ankita, let me also get some views from Ahmedabad. Rohit Bhan is there, and of course from Chennai, where Sam Daniel is there. Rohit, to you first. Share with us what some of the commuters in Ahmedabad are telling you.
Well, Shweta, in fact, right through the day we have been interacting with people at the railway station, and A little disappointed with the budget. People here in Gujarat, they're saying that not much has come to the state. We're joined by some passengers here. आपको क्या लगता है?
I will have to interrupt you at the moment because we need to cut across to Parliament where Smriti Irani is speaking.
However, if you deem it fit, I will then follow your directions if you ask me to reply right now within the next 10 minutes.
No. No, please. Not within the 10 minutes because I have 2-3 more speakers. You want reply today or no, it's a minute.
No, it till 12 o'clock, no problem. This is not way. Every member want to speak.
I would say, the minister can decide to reply. If the minister says you are replying tomorrow,
Yes.
then it is, we are no problem. But if
That
you
is why she requested in the interest of the honorable members कि सारे members जो है वो अपनी बात को डिटेल में कह सके क्योंकि अभी 16-17 members हैं
but
कुछ members और बात अपने
before 7:30 in any case it is difficult.
Bill today, sir. Why not bill? Only calling attention, only short duration. No bill.
We agree for
only. This is not way.
Then you,
sir, this is not way. This tactics is not going on.
said 7:30
No, sir.
Minister replied.
No, sir. No, it is not possible.
Otherwise, no bill.
Only calling attention, only short
Otherwise, no
duration,
bill.
only hangama, no bill.
Mr. Nakviti,
no bill.
We are legislator. We are House of Legislation.
Sir,
and when they are saying that no legislation.
you want to reply today, that is the point, isn't
Only
it?
then the bill. You conclude this and then the bill.
You be specific.
You decide when you want.
Actually, no problem. Your point, let me reply to HED. Your problem is, you want reply today.
No, I am saying no bill will be taken up until this discussion is concluded.
No, that means discussion concluded, bill can be taken up.
No,
It is
that is
not
understanding.
good.
You want the reply tomorrow, no bill.
सीतालाल जी ये गलत बात है. You are violating the decision and we are you are violating. What decided? We decided in
Mr. Nakvi,
you are a commitment.
Mr. Nakvi, no problem. You see, there need not be any shadow fight. Only what he is saying and other members are saying that have the reply and then bill. That's all. We can have both.
Then
We can have both.
No problem.
Because bill, we have decided that both issues will be taken and bill.
Okay, no problem.
Bill have. If members are
We are ready to sit
if
till 12
members are
o'clock.
there,
We are ready to sit
if quorum
till
is
12
there,
o'clock.
I will be here, we will pass out.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Now, so come to the next person, Mr. Hanuman Rao.
Call everybody.
Mr. Hanuman Rao. Take only 5
अभी 3
minutes.
बिल लेंगे हम.
Take only 5 minutes.
तो आप बोल दो कि 3 बिल लो आज.
Sir, Deputy Chairman, sir, repeatedly our Honorable Minister has taken my name because I also wrote a letter, but my letter is entirely different, the which Bandaru Dattatreya wrote a letter is entirely different. When I was a court member in Hyderabad University, at that time there is a lot of allegations have come against the Vice Chancellor and also repeatedly they are mishandling and there is a misappropriation of the money and also 3 semester. Chairman, Deputy Chairman sir, 3 semesters, 6.7.
We will keep revisiting the campus nationalism debate that's taking place in Parliament. Time now for a quick break, but we'll be back with our special show on the rail budget after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We've been bringing you reactions from around the country to Suresh Prabhu's railway budget that was presented today. Sam Daniel is standing by in Chennai. Sam, what's been the reaction? You've been covering the story since morning. What's the general reaction you're getting from commuters? Important given the fact that elections are around the corner.
That's right. There was huge expectation, Shweta, that there could be new trains announced, and particularly there could be a commitment from the government that they will finish many pending projects announced during earlier budgets. But to that extent, it's a kind of a disappointment for many people. but the fact that there is no railway tariff hike, that's a plus. Many like it, many welcome it. Also the fact that there will be web-based services available for passengers. There will be a 24/7 helpline available for women passengers. That people largely welcome. Otherwise, expectations on the doubling of the line from Chennai to Kanyakumari, an exclusive flight corridor from Chennai to Tuticorin, all these are negatives, and that way even Chief Minister Jayalalitha has said that the budget has actually failed to meet expectations of people in Tamil Nadu. Let's speak to our passenger quickly. Your reaction to the budget?
I'm a frequent traveler. I do move on a long distance train very frequently. But the issue is that I don't think so budget has addressed the cleanliness issues or maybe the passenger comfort issues. Those things has not been covered yet. That's my first failure on the budget.
Right. We have a panel of experts in the studio. Would you have any questions for them?
Just want to understand, is the operating ratio, the budgeted operating ratio, is it achievable? And the borrowing plans for the railways, is it achievable? So
right. Thank you so much. So Shweta, voice from Chennai.
All right, Sam, many thanks for that. Let me pose that question to our guests here and also get last comments from them as we're running out of time. Vivek, you heard what some of the commuters had to say. Your thoughts?
So yes, I think it's a very valid question as to whether the borrowing plans can be achieved or not.
Right.
I think the fact they made a start with LIC putting in 20% effectively of the 5-year budget by pledging 1.5 lakh crores. We have to look at ways and means by which LIC will be repaid properly.
Sure.
At the end of the day.
And that remains the big question.
And that remains a question mark. That said, I don't think anything much more could have been done because he's looked at all the alternative sources through which he can garner either capital or revenue for the railways.
Okay, so Jaijit, if I could put this differently, given current circumstances, given the state of the railways, given that options are limited, this is the best that he could have done. Is that a right way to sum it up?
I think the question that the gentleman in Chennai asked was actually is the operating ratio achievable or not, and the constraint that you're talking about is one of the biggest constraint is a 32,000 crore chunk that you have to service for the 7th pay commission. Now post servicing that 32,000 crore, is it realistic to believe that the 0.92, 0.93 operating ratio can be met or not? It is a challenge. I think it will be a real challenge, and you can't be borrowing to manage your revenue expenditure. So I think that's something that has been given as a constraint. It will be worthwhile to see for the rest of the year how that's managed, and definitely that's an issue.
But all in all, when we talk about the right intent, the right direction, the right noises, so to say, all the customer-friendly initiatives that they've announced, in many ways touching on the planks or the vision of this government, whether it's Swachh Bharat, Make in India, Digital India, in that sense, he seems to have covered it all. Vivek?
Yes, right. And as with everything with this government, it's an agenda which is very busy in terms of execution demands.
Right.
So I hope that he can now gear up the entire railways infrastructure. He started off with a very motivating speech. So I hope he can gear up the entire railways infrastructure to deliver on the busy agenda that he's set for them.
All right, implementation will be key, and that remains the main question. Closing comments from you, Jaijit.
I think I would expand on that point. Is that this lays the foundation of a transformation of railways.
Okay.
For a very long time, we have been saying the railways is kind of rickety. It needs very significant uphaul. And I think that's what this budget is trying to hint at, that moving forward it has to become a modern railway system, and therefore some of the key issues like customer satisfaction and signalling system and densification of the lines and so on and so forth have been all touched upon.
All right, thank you both for joining us and sharing your perspective. So as you heard, a budget that clearly talks about transforming the railways, ambitious, pragmatic, futuristic, but the key clearly remains in the implementation. That's all from me. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Presented by